All right, welcome everyone to the podcast. This is the Winners Effect podcast. I'm Noah Johnson, and this is
Ben Edwards.
Ben Edwards. So this is our first episode.
We'll talk about what we know, mostly what we don't know, because we don't know a lot.
So what should we talk about first, Ben?
First on our list, let's talk about the public education system.
That's a great one. That's a great
Both
one.
of us don't like it.
Yeah, obviously. So both of us have, or should we talk about our business first, so they can kind of get to know us a little bit?
What we are.
All right, so when I was 16, and how old are you? How old were you when I was 16?
15,
15.
probably.
So I was 16, he was 15. We started a home service business. Honestly, I was just thinking a lot, in high school I was a junior, so getting closer to senior year, it's kind of everyone's talking about what they're going to do after high school, and I hate the education system. I don't want to go to college, so I needed to figure out a way for me to, make a living after high school without going to college. So I came up with the idea of this Christmas lighting business, and then the first person I contacted was Ben. And
He didn't contact me. He texted me. He goes, so what about if we just put lights on houses this winter for some money?
that might be true. But yeah,
Then we did.
we just kind of came up with the idea. We ran with it. We did a little bit of research, and then we got started knocking doors, got some clients, and started making money. And so
Yeah.
that was kind of our
And
first.
we weren't even like business partners last year. It was more like Noah ran everything and I just climbed on the roofs.
Yeah,
Connected
That's
the
a pretty
lights.
good explanation. It was obviously the first business we've ever worked on, like the first business that actually making money that we have ever worked on. So there were a lot of things that we didn't do correctly, a lot of mistakes we made. But
Yeah, we accidentally turned the power off in like 4 different homes.
yeah, there were a lot of
That was
mistakes.
fine. We got paid.
A lot of mistakes made, but we know a lot more now, and we've been doing a lot better than we did
Yeah.
at the beginning.
So what we've done for holiday lighting is we just obviously buy the lights, put them up, and take them down. And that's like our business pitch too. Just knock doors to get clients. And it works and doesn't work. I think a lot of people just think it's too expensive, which makes a lot of sense because
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay for it. And that's like our gas money right now. But we're on our road to 1.2 million.
Yeah, we're on the road to 1.2 million right now. We're focusing on just scaling Home Harmony, kind of delegating a lot of the labor, getting some workers under us, and kind of just growing this business as big as we can in the future. So that's a pretty good explanation of Home Harmony.
Yeah. Okay, now back to the public education system.
Back to the
'cause
public
that's where we're
education
going.
system.
Okay, so I'm actually writing this essay in my English class for school about why the public education system needs to change. True story. My teacher read my topic and laughed and looked at me like, this is going to be a hard topic.
That's such a great explanation of the public education system
yeah.
right now, right there.
So she's a great teacher. I mean, she really thinks that people should have their own ideas and definitely is not trying to indoctrinate me into her thinking.
Yeah, let's start at the youngest age. So let's start with little kids in preschool and kindergarten and stuff like that. So I personally think you're going to love this word. So when you're that young, obviously a lot of neuroplasticity, it's much easier to learn things.
You
and
learn game theory.
it's much easier to learn things than as an adult, which is obviously said all the time. We can get into it later if that's actually true, but I think in general it's easier to learn things when you're little. So there's a lot of focus on parents getting their children an education from a young age. It's obviously very important in our world to be knowledgeable and being able to read, being literate, being able to write, everything like that. It's obviously going to be very valuable skills to have in the future, but I just think that the way we're going about it is very wrong, and it's kind of causing more conformity and less creativity, I think. It's kind of pumping out all the students to be very similar and to be way too alike, whereas what I think we need or what would be a lot better in the world is a lot of creativity. Everyone's unique, everyone's different, everyone has their own ideas, and I think that the public education system is just kind of causing the complete opposite of that, and just causing everyone to be the same. Everyone takes the same classes. Everyone, they want everyone to just have straight A's and just kind of
Get into that good
Be in
college.
that path.
Scholarship. Okay, think
Yeah,
about
exactly.
this, Noah. when is it, would you say, that people change from the you can be whatever you want when you grow up?
I think
to
about this all
you
the
can
time.
be
I think about
whatever
this
you
all
want.
the time.
Okay, because I do too.
Because I
What do you
think
think it is?
there's people like us where we're always gonna think we can be whatever we want to be because we're we're constantly around people like you and me, and we're around each other, and we both know that we say this all the time, we can do anything we put our minds to, and I think that's really true, and I think that's a great way to look
Even
at
if
life.
it might take like 40 years.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's a great quote by Nat Friedman, very popular, where he says, "Pessimists sound smart and optimists make money." I think that that's so true, and I think that if you have a pessimistic look on life and on yourself, and you think that you kind of have this closed-minded view that there's certain things you're good at and you can't be good at other things, and you're never gonna be whatever you want to be because you don't have that skill set. I think that's a very negative way to look at it. Actually, this book right here, The Art of Learning by Joshua Waitzkin, talks about this a lot. Kind of talks about how you can actually teach an old dog new tricks, and you can learn things, and he calls it learning theory, where you can learn anything and you can become knowledgeable in any subject as long as you're passionate about it, and obviously you put the time in to learn about it. You can really be whatever you want to be, whatever. I mean, obviously that's kind of cliche, and
Okay, but here's something interesting that goes along with this. So, kids, this is from Freakonomics, How to Think Like a Freak. And kids,
the third book in the
third book.
Freakonomics
kids ask
trilogy there.
way more questions, and that's something that's, I feel like, been stopped, especially because of the public education
That's a
system.
great
Um,
point.
the story is that this magician, he does card tricks. His least favorite people to do them on are kids, because they're the people that think rationally about the card tricks and actually will realize what he is doing. While adults are like, you hypnotized me into believing that was not my card. And the kids are like, well, what if you just picked up 2 cards instead?
That's a great point.
So we have to ask more questions like kids. Like, feel like a kid to some extent.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Even in just creativity, like kids are so creative, and like you were saying earlier, there comes a point in our lives where we're just, because of whatever reason, the education system or just so much logical thinking that's led us to this point, we just become much less creative than we should be.
Yeah.
And
I think it's because
as
we're
kids are.
taught to be less creative.
Yeah.
You ask a question in math of how this applies, and your teacher answers, well, I mean, it applies if you're going to become an engineer.
Yeah.
And you're just taught to just focus and get done with your math, and that's it.
Yeah,
It
that's
does
a great
not
point.
help.
That's a great point.
I think it would be important. Okay, we got to talk about how the education system should change now. We got to give ideas because everyone says
Awesome.
it needs to change.
Awesome.
Let's start elementary school. How should it be different?
Awesome. You want to start with this, or should I start with this?
I'd have to think about it for a minute. So if you have a good idea,
All right, I'll just start going a little bit. So, I've been listening. We have actually both been listening to Naval Ravikant, great entrepreneur, great mind, great
shout out
philosopher.
if you want to join the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, Naval, if you're seeing this, we want you on this podcast very
Teach us.
badly.
You can be my mentor. Well, you are already.
But anyways, he has this series with David Deutsch, who you may not know. I'm sure some of you might know, but he's one of the godfathers of quantum engineering. Incredibly smart mind, really one of the greatest scientific minds of our generation. But they're talking a lot about young people, and David Deutsch has this philosophy where we should treat children just as adults. We should give them just as much recognition and try and listen to their ideas just as much as we listen to adults' ideas, because of this fact that these young minds are so much more creative than these adults. And to get into how we should change that in the actual education system, David Deutsch talks about this, how he believes that we shouldn't just, I gotta think about this for a second.
Doesn't he say that, like, we shouldn't force learning upon people and they should be interested in learning on
Yeah,
their own?
yeah.
Is that not in the 5th one?
That's a lot. That's like almost to a T. But yeah, he talks about how, I think he didn't call it homeschooling. He called it anti-schooling, where you kind of, you take away the idea that a kid should just learn a specific curriculum, and you kind of just let him follow his passions. But it's less like you're kind of looking at his passions, seeing what he likes to do, and it's more just you're giving him access to whatever it is that he needs to, or he, whatever it is that the kid needs to follow their passion. So, for example, you'd give him the literature he needs. You'd always listen to the ideas that he has. I keep saying he. I don't think it really matters, but
They.
it's. I'm
Talk
just. I'm
about-
thinking of a.
talk about gender things.
thinking of a male kid right now, but
Okay.
it's just kind of
So
giving
here's
him
problem
the
with
options.
This is what I thought about when I
Yeah.
listened to it. Because of the century that we live in, I know my little brothers, they would not learn on their own.
Yeah.
What do we do about that? How can we fix that?
Yeah, he definitely talks about this a lot. I'm having a hard time recalling. I don't have the recall of Naval right now, but he does that. Obviously, brings that up because falsifiability is like a big part of kind of how they think through things. They try to play the devil's advocate as much as possible, but I think what Deutsch said is that it's not necessarily a bad thing that because they're always going to learn something regardless of what you're doing. Like if Naval talks about how like chess, for example, we got a chessboard right in front of us. It's kind of accepted as a positive thing to be really good at chess, whereas a game like, we'll just take Minecraft or Fortnite for example. If you're incredibly good at one of those games, from an adult's perspective, that's not necessarily a positive thing. That's more of a negative thing. But really, they're very similar in the fact where it's a it's a positive sum game where you can be incredibly good, and it's just as impressive to be incredibly good at one of those video games. It takes hand-eye coordination, logical thinking, a lot of things that chess doesn't have, but also a lot of the things that chess does have. Like you have to have a mind that can be incredibly good at one of those video games, and I think it's a positive thing to be incredibly good at, like Fortnite, for example. Like the top Fortnite players make more money than the top chess players, if we're being honest.
Probably.
But
Okay, so as a kid, though, you have to learn about everything. So if kids are hyper interested in one topic and they learn about that whole topic,
I see.
how do we incentivize them to learn about other topics?
That's a great point.
Is incentivizing them with learning about what they're interested in valid? Like, should we be like, hey, look, let's take your example.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to learn about fundamentals of math right here in our new education society. Afterward, you can play your Fortnite. Is that good? Would that be a good way to incentivize them?
I mean, I'm gonna just talk about myself here for a second. Like when I was little, I kind of hated to read. I was kind of like the opposite of how I am now. I love to waste time. I love to play video games. And I don't know if that was necessarily such a negative thing for me. Like I definitely struggled in school. I played Fortnite all the time growing up. I put so many hours into video games, and I think from an outsider looking in, like my parents or my grandparents, they'd think that I was just kind of wasting my time. I don't think it was necessarily that negative. I was so young. I was playing this
but
game
that's because
all
you
the time.
realized that you had to have something different.
Yeah, and then
And not everyone realizes that.
yeah, that's a good point.
How do we make people realize that?
And then, I mean, eventually I don't know how I realized it. I just realized that was a waste of my time. But I think the positive thing there is that I came to that conclusion on my own, and I didn't have any kind of outsider,
Yeah.
like causing my arc from
So with another sample
from
size
that
of
life
one,
to the life of me.
I had like similar kind of, except I didn't play many video games. Not because I didn't want to, because my parents would restrict. They'd be like, go outside.
Yeah.
And so I grew up outside climbing trees, doing flips, all that. Played my 45 minutes of Minecraft each day. And then I realized that now I don't really play too many video games just because I don't enjoy them as much.
Yeah.
But I feel like theoretically it should be flipped. Now since I have free agency to play as many games as I should want to just grind all the video games I never got to play as a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how this works.
Yeah, I think you just kind of do what you want to do. Like, right now, me and you, we want to work and make money and have successful lives in the future. That's kind of what we're overwhelmingly focusing on in our lives. But I mean,
Jesus Christ.
And obviously Jesus Christ. But I think, like, I'm happy with how everything worked out for me. I played so many video games. From an outsider looking in, I was just going to be a nobody, not really do anything, maybe be average at best. Because I literally played video games every day of my life for years on end, which is just a horrible thing. But I mean, I think it really worked out for me. I don't know if this kind of goes to the point of like genetics and how you're kind of set in stone already. I think we talked about how we wanted to talk about this, but I don't know. I think it might be like an IQ thing too. Like eventually you're bound to realize on your own that that's not the life you want.
Yeah,
And
I think
you don't want the life of comfort.
the most important thing, specifically in the education system, that can be different is inviting kids to do research on a broad range of topics. Like, I think it is super important that they watch different videos or learn different things about everything that they can at that time. Some of it might have to be a little bit forced, but they don't really know what they're going to be super interested in and get the best at right away. And I think like that will help just a bunch of them to open their perspective and just be able to ask so many more questions. Because if you have a little bit of knowledge in something, you'll often like think you know a lot, and if you have a little bit more, then you just ask
That's a
a
Dunning-Kruger effect.
bunch of questions. That's a Dunning-Kruger effect or whatever it is. And I think that can be super important in elementary school to get these kids thinking really deep about everything.
Yeah. Because I think one of the issues with just letting kids follow their own thing is that they don't do enough things. They just focus on that one thing because they don't understand that there's such a high likelihood of them enjoying other things and trying new things and enjoying the new things that they, in their mind, they might have this preconceived notion that they would just hate that. But
Crazy
really,
comparison to sports. Some of the best athletes have gone almost pro in multiple sports. Like, was it Michael Jordan played in the MLB?
Michael Jordan.
So it's important to get a range of different things so you know what's going on.
Exactly.
All right. So now should we talk about genetics then? We don't know enough about it.
We
That's
don't
the
know.
problem.
We don't know enough about genetics.
Well, what about high school?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's talk
'cause-
about high school for a bit.
All right, you get out of middle school. Middle school doesn't count. That's just where you get suspended a couple times.
Yeah, I
and-
think okay. I want to go into the point that I think it's kind of a compounding effect where the early years of your life, as long as you understand the basics of things like reading and math, I don't think that there's that much more value in kind of going deep into those things. I think as long as you can read, you can write, and then you can do basic math, I think that'll kind of set you up for being able to learn anything at a later point.
What about the social aspect of elementary school? That's something I just thought of.
That's a great point, because that's
'Cause,
kind of
okay, think
one of the
about
main
this.
issues
This
with
is something that I
homeschooling.
saw today. Humans are like a pack of animals, right? You know, we have to have each other to grow up. So your goal, everyone's goal almost in life, is to feel valuable.
Yeah.
And so that's why you do everything you do. Making money, it allows you to feel valuable to other people. Helping people, it makes you feel valuable. If you wear different things, then you're more popular and you feel more valuable. So if we do more of like individualized learning, how is this going to work? Because I think middle school is super important for that aspect. I don't even understand. I need to do more research on it, but it's super complicated, I think.
Yeah, certainly is.
Because that's a big part of school, like the social aspect.
The social aspect, for sure.
What is your thoughts on it?
I mean, there's obviously the idea or the stereotype that all homeschool kids are socially awkward and kind of hard to talk to.
Dang, talking to a homeschool.
But obviously there's a lot of outliers of this. Maybe it's a wrong stereotype, maybe it's right. But like Ben, for example, how long were you homeschooled?
Until 7th grade.
Till 7th grade. And he is
Not homeschooled anymore.
he's now he goes to high school, obviously, but socially intelligent and easy to talk to and kind of outgoing and kind of the opposite of the stereotype.
And that's what
of-
happened to my brother too. It was
Yeah.
the same deal. He was homeschooled, and then I remember like second year public school, like everyone knew him at school,
Yeah,
and I don't know why that is.
yeah.
I wonder if that's genetic.
I think it's certainly a lot genetic, because there's kind of all these ideas in medicine right now where they're or not medicine, but just parenting in general, where they're talking about how you can kind of do certain things to make a baby or a child more talkative, more happy, more outgoing. Like, for example, how parents like to introduce their kids to other kids and have play dates and things like this. Obviously, these are very, very important, but maybe for different reasons than a lot of people think, because I think that it really is a lot genetics, and I think that there's like overwhelming evidence that points to it being mostly genetics.
I think it's a lot about back to asking questions. Like you have to be interested in other people,
Certainly.
and that's a big thing. Like someone's gonna want to talk to you. What is that quote? Like the best way to talk to someone is to get them to talk about themselves. And so people that ask more questions and are more genuinely interested, those are the people that are going to talk with more people and have more outlets. So, and homeschooling, I don't know if that puts a damper on that because you don't get to talk to as many people as
Yeah.
well. But then I wonder if that can be flipped for mine and my brother's case.
Yeah.
We didn't have that opportunity as much. I mean, we had a bunch of friends. We'd go and do homeschooling things, but it's totally different going to school, meeting these kids we never got to meet before, and talk to totally different people.
Mm-hmm.
It was super interesting, and I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, we were talking about earlier the bell curve of IQ, to where the idea is if your IQ is below 90, you're going to be successful, and if your IQ is between 90 and 100, then you're going to be mediocre at best. That if your IQ is over 100, you're going to be successful. The idea is 90% of the population is within the middle, within the average, and and they're the ones who aren't successful. And the idea is the low IQ people, they kind of just focus on one thing overwhelmingly, and they just work really hard, and they become successful in one thing just purely because of hard work and focusing on something. And then the high IQ people, they succeed just simply because they're that much better at problem solving and kind of doing things like that, where it's going to be very difficult for them not to succeed just because they have that skill set. And then there's the mid curve people who who don't really have that much hard work to focus on one thing. They're intelligent enough to see all these different ideas and kind of get lost in choosing different ideas and switching between different things. And then they're not quite intelligent enough to just be so overwhelmingly good at problem solving that even though they have so many different targets, they they can't,
Yeah, and then you hit your Elon Musk.
yeah. And then we have just hyper high IQ like Elon Musk. Whatever he does, he's successful at. Or like Josh Waitzkin, for example, world championship chess player, completely ditches it, goes into martial arts and becomes a martial arts world champion in I believe Tai Chi push hands. Kind of a controversial martial art, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. One sport I haven't done yet.
But yeah, I think that genetics plays a pretty good part in success. I think you'd probably agree with that, especially in sports.
I mean, because people think about like, oh, well, it's the community you're raised in, it's your parents. Like, if your parents are successful, you're going to be successful. What if that's just because your parents are genetically gifted, and it passes along, and it does the same?
Like, we can go into sports, for example. If, like, statistically speaking, if you're not an African American, you're highly unlikely to make it to the NBA. And if you're below 6'5", you're highly it's impossible for you to make it to the NBA.
Almost, yeah.
But and then that just goes like that's completely genetic. You can't change that at all with anything you do in your life. It's not about how you're raised.
The genes of your baby.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, that's different.
But
and I feel like it's the same for becoming successful in intelligence to an extent.
It's certainly. I think it plays a big role in becoming successful. I think that. I mean, if you can obviously be born with a high IQ and then be in an environment where it kind of makes it unable for you to be successful, and then I think that those are outliers though, and there's the same if you flip flop it, where there's low IQ people who are born in like a perfect environment to be successful, but they don't become successful.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is fear. Like, I think that's why a lot of people benefit from the current education system.
Mm-hmm.
It is safe. You go and you get your college degree. You have almost guaranteed job, except college unemployment rate is up at 5% right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where I heard that, but it's true. Look it up. Probably.
Freakonomics.
Probably. And so that's why a lot of people do that. And I think a lot of people that do become really successful, they're less scared. They do take some risk. No matter what you're super successful in, you have taken a big risk with money or your reputation or something like that. And that's a lot of, I think it gets overlooked. That's why the education system works so good.
Oh, to go back to the public education system, I think one of the worst things is that all of my friends, all the people I talk to on a day-to-day basis, they don't understand how you can create your own job and you can be wildly successful doing your own thing and not working for someone else. Like, for example, I was talking to someone. He worked a 12-hour shift on a Saturday, made $180, and he was happy with that. Now, if me and Ben were to work 12 hours straight doing our thing,
I'd die.
it would be obviously very difficult, but we'd make a lot, like so much more money than that. Like we made thousands of dollars.
If we did, yeah, just straight Christmas
But
lights.
most people just don't understand that you can make a lot more money working for yourself than you can working for someone else.
My sister, if she's listening to this, hopefully she doesn't get mad at me, but we were driving and we were talking about, and she was like, well, what are you going to go to college for if you want to like own different businesses and stuff? She's like, you going to get a business degree? I was like, yeah, so when no one hires me, no one's looking at what I get in college. They're going to just see, oh yeah, he has a business degree for the no one that's hiring.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think that the education system needs to do a much better job of kind of just informing students and trying to nurture them to create their own jobs and be creative and think about their skill set and how they can start their own business. And because I think that there's just a lack of information about the fact that you can make a lot of money doing your own thing, and nobody understands that.
Here's a crazy thing to think about. So back when 1950s, 1940s, if you were a woman in America, you didn't have many job opportunities. The smartest women would become teachers. Nowadays, everyone has so many job opportunities. Becoming a teacher is one of the easiest degrees I would feel like to get. And so we have not nearly as smart of people becoming teachers. Is this going to lead to like a negative trend almost because of this? And I feel like it kind of has. So no offense to
that's
teachers.
That's definitely a good point.
But they're not the smartest of the bunch of their graduating class in high school. And I wonder if this plays a role in, because I mean, you want your coach for your sport, you want him to know as much about it as you can. And teachers,
and then
you just accept their degree and call it
if you're an adult, you want the absolute best education for your children as well, just the same way as you wanna.
We just accept these teachers with their degree and their couple years of teaching.
Yeah.
But shouldn't we look at the success of their students if we want to find a good teacher?
Certainly. I think the overwhelming issue is the curriculum, though. And I think that even if we had bad teachers but a great curriculum, I think that would be incredibly valuable as well. We just need to find that healthy mix, obviously, in an ideal world. But I think that
change the curriculum. What 21st century skills need to be added to the curriculum?
I think just entrepreneurship is the most important thing, because there's just not enough information. Like day-to-day basis, I'm talking to people and they just, it's not even in their mind that they would ever want to have their own business. They just think that it's way more difficult than it is. Like there's this great Sam Altman quote that I love, where it's the people you look up to, the people who are running these billion-dollar companies are often far less intelligent than you think, and they're much worse at making decisions, and they know a lot less than you think they are. And you're honestly a much better problem solver than you think you are. It was, obviously that wasn't verbatim, but that was kind of the gist of what he said. But I love that because I mean it's so much easier.
Where did all these negative connotations come from? About
exactly.
How difficult it is to start a business.
Exactly. It's so much easier than you'd think to start your own business and actually become profitable, and especially if you're passionate about something. And then
what is the average?
And then the work doesn't even feel like
GPA
work.
of like billionaires. It's probably really low. I'll look it up.
I mean, there's a lot of billionaires who just graduate with a great GPA, and then
I don't think there's that many though.
I mean, a lot of them went to Harvard and Stanford. Mark Zuckerberg, Elon.
Billionaire.
I think it's pretty high.
I don't know. GPA 2.9 according to the Millionaire Mind.
Is it millionaires or billionaires?
According to this suggests it says the millionaire's college GPA is 2.9.
High school GPA is probably higher.
Probably. From what I get off Google, for a millionaire's GPA in college, it looks like it's 2.9. So that's not that great. But I'm not. We'll ask ChatGPT.
That's literally higher than mine.
Well, you're below average then. Except that average doesn't even make any sense then. Okay, I think coding needs to be added as a core subject almost, computer skills. These teachers telling everyone to work on paper, work by hand. What is this for? Never in your real life are you going to have to not have a computer at your fingertips. People need to learn how to use AI and know how to code because in any job now, unless you're going like blue collar into trades, but that's totally different. You're going to need to know how to computer and do stuff like that and code, which I don't know enough about.
And I think coding is an incredibly high leverage skill. Like, for example, Naval, in his book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, he talks about how you can never get wealthy. You can never get wealthy renting out your time, which means you want to. What do you call it? You want to separate the amount of hours you put in from the money you make. So let me give you an example. A software engineer, they could work for a big firm or a big company like Google or ChatGPT or OpenAI. They could work for one of these big companies and they could make $200,000 a year, but then they're just renting out their time and they're never going to become wealthy just renting out their time. Or they could use their skill set and they could create their own thing and they could put hundreds of hours into creating some sort of application. They could see absolutely zero revenue in the first 2 years, and then bang, you release the app, you make millions of dollars, you get acquired by one of these big companies like Google for $1 billion, and then you're an overnight success. But you put all those hours in, and you were leveraging your time, and you were not just renting out your time. And that can just lead to so much higher returns than if you're just renting out your time.
What did you even really accomplish working there?
Yeah, you're just kind of creating someone else's dream and building someone else's dream, right?
Is that not going to affect your mental, health, I feel like?
Yeah, because you're not contributing to something that you're actually passionate about.
I think most people have the fear of being mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a cool video.
I think most people don't have that fear.
I think
that's the issue. I think the issue is that not enough people have the fear of being mediocre.
Maybe. Don't be mediocre. That's the goal.
Never be mediocre.
That's the goal. I think a lot of people are okay with it. Maybe they think it's good enough. Imagine if everyone in the world could switch their mindset from getting a good job and supporting a family to doing something that would actually change the world. I feel like we'd go to Mars in 10 years.
I mean, that's a great point.
Think about how many smart people could actually do cool stuff.
I mean, Elon Musk on his podcast with Joe Rogan, this is it's on topic, but it's a little off topic. He talks about universal. I forgot what he calls it, what they call it, what it's called, universal basic income (UBI), and he thinks that if everyone were to make the same amount of money and they were able to just do whatever they want to do and do creative things, they would aim a lot higher, and we would advance much quicker in society than right now, where everyone's just trying to make ends meet and kind of do the bare minimum.
I agree. But I think that would be difficult, and I don't think you would ever technically work in this life.
I certainly agree. I don't think universal basic income will at any point actually be a thing.
Based on a religious standpoint.
I just think it's good food for thought, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a good...
we need to talk about the psychology of religion at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe not right now. That's really
eventually.
That'll go next. Okay, where should we go to now? College. We just finished high school. Except we didn't actually talk about high school.
Should we talk about how we liked high school?
Yeah, well, we're not even out of high school yet.
How we like high school so far?
Yeah, sure.
You want to start?
Yeah, so high school's fun, actually. I enjoy hanging out with my friends. I don't think I learn more on my own, no matter what my mom says, than actually at school. Now I just take college classes at the local college through high school. It's not because I'm smart. They're easier than what my high school classes are.
They're easier than
especially when I use ChatGPT on everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
You just read.
Yeah. I really dislike high school, and I don't like to be there, and I don't really enjoy being there. But there are aspects about it that I do like. I like talking to people, so I love all my friends and being able to talk to my friends all day. Um, I don't think I actually learned that much in the classes. I definitely learned much more on my own, like what Ben said. I think I learned best reading, and I learned a lot from reading. And honestly, out of my 8 hour school day, I'm probably reading about 4 hours out of those 8 hours. Um, but yeah, I think I learn much better on my own than I do
Yeah.
at school.
I don't think they teach us any like leverage skills at school. They just
Yeah.
teach us random information.
Yeah, there's no high leverage skills. It's mostly just
There's
memorization.
nothing I've learned out of school that I can directly take and make money right now.
Certainly,
Not a single skill.
certainly not.
Maybe a couple electives. Maybe my art class, but they didn't even teach me anything about
Yeah.
photography and editing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Should we talk about art a little bit? I love art
okay, let's talk about art.
and just kind of
Creativity.
creativity in general. I guess I don't know where we'd talk about art.
What kind of art is creativity in art, music, actual art, videos, photography? Why is that important? Why do humans strive to do that, and why do some people care about it?
Let's just start with my definition of art. I think that art is anything done for its own sake. So anything that you do just to do it. So that means like if you
Out an incentive most of the
yeah,
time.
without an incentive. So like for example, like I think that taking the scenic route home would be an example of art, or just kind of drawing a little doodle on your paper would be an example of art. Anything, it doesn't have to be an actual piece of art, it doesn't have to be music, doesn't have to be a video. Anything that you do for its own sake without any incentive, I think is art.
Yeah, and I think you can get good at that, and that will be a skill that's going to be needed a lot more. And
Mhm.
people say like AI can take over that, but I don't think it ever will.
I don't think AI will ever take over anything creative. I think
Yeah.
I think obviously I think AGI is much farther away than what people are saying. Like Sam Altman says it's coming in 5 years, or it's coming in 2 years, I think is what he's saying. I don't think it's coming anywhere near that.
I don't know if it will come.
I don't know if it will ever come, yeah.
I don't know.
I certainly don't think super intelligence will ever be a thing. But
No.
I
don't
guess
know.
we'll see, but
it will be weird. I don't know if that's something that can exist in this earth with the knowledge that we are given. If we're talking religiously again.
I mean if we're talking anything,
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible. I don't also I think that I don't think AI is even that good. I mean, ChatGPT, it's just a chatbot. All you can do is just kind of ask it questions, and you can have some dialogue with it. But I mean, everyone makes it sound like it's. I think it is revolutionary. I think it is a very valuable tool. But I feel like people are making it out to be way more than it is, when all it is a computer program that can
But
give you
we should
answers.
advance even quicker because we have things like this. Like think about
Yeah, certainly.
everything that's going on. It's making everything increase exponentially, right? As soon as the Industrial Revolution was
Mhm.
first,
Mm-hmm.
then everything started going up so quick. Like if you told whoever invented computers, I don't remember his name, that in 40 years, you could hold it in your hand and it could do all
Yeah.
these different things, they wouldn't believe it.
Certainly.
So if we keep going on this exponential trend of growth, maybe we will have
Mm-hmm.
AI that is pretty much a
What do
human.
you think about the
10 years.
what do you think about the negative effects of AI?
I think negative effects are huge actually,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like really hard because it's like depends how you look at it, you know?
Yeah, because it definitely makes certain things a lot easier, but then that comes at the price of you're not thinking through things that
Yeah.
you would normally be thinking.
The
through.
whole thing of taking away jobs, that is the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I hope we can get rid of more jobs. That's the point.
That's the objective, and then we can have people creating their own jobs, more creative fields. I think is where
Yes.
the world's trending towards.
Yeah, which should exist. And that's why we need people to strive for no more mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
Become better.
Gotta become better.
And
Always
then we won't
learning.
even have to worry about ChatGPT taking
Yeah.
over people's jobs.
But I think I think
What about
that
the instance where it killed someone? You know what I'm talking about? Did you read about
it
that?
made some guy kill himself?
Yeah.
I don't know too much about
What
it.
about the test? Okay, there's this test. I would have to pull up the exact numbers, but they set it up where the the AI bot was hired at a company, and it was going to get shut down. and they allowed the chatbot was in charge of like unlocking a door to get this person out, and they allowed the chatbot to see into the email inbox. I should actually look up this exact, and it said they were going to get shut down, and the chatbot decided not to, so it pretty much would have killed this guy. It was a fake scenario, but how it worked out, I should look up the exact. We'll plug that in.
Wasn't it in order to save
We'll link
itself?
it. Yeah, in order to save itself from being shut
I'm
down.
pretty sure in this scenario, the chatbot was actually told by any means possible, which and it knew that its objective was to keep itself alive as well. So
I don't think
in-
it was.
I think it definitely was. Naval
I'll
talked about
check.
this. I mean, it sounds like neither of us
Could've been rigged.
know the scenario
We
that
don't
well.
know enough. I think it could have happened though. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, but
If it wasn't told
Yeah, but that-
specifically not to.
but it only does the parameters it's given. Like it definitely wasn't acting on its own. It wasn't being
I agree.
creative in any way.
So we just have to make sure we know the parameters that we give to ChatGPT.
But I don't think that anything negative in that sense can really come from ChatGPT because
Yeah.
it's only
It would be technically a human's fault for
it's
not
only yeah it's
explaining
only
to
it's only
ChatGPT
what
what's going on.
what you give it. Because like if you give it access to nuclear bombs and things like that, then something bad can happen. But it doesn't seem like there's a reason why you would do that.
But if everyone has power to control this, could like terrorists use it to do worse things?
Yeah, but how
Can
could
they
how could they
incentivize an AI?
how could they use an AI to do worse things than they could just do themselves though?
Because it can help them like hack into things better.
I don't think it's not good enough at programming.
Not yet.
Like
Not yet.
like here's the yeah not yet I guess. Here's an example. Like there's this I don't know if you guys are familiar with vibe coding, but that's where you can just talk to in a chatbot and then have it write code for you to create apps. I've put in so many hours into different vibe coding platforms. Cursor, for example, is the one I use the most. It's supposed to be the best one, but AI is not very good at writing code. It's incredibly hard to get MVP, a minimum viable product, to actually be created, and to actually get an app working, and the UI design to look good and to look anywhere near some of the apps we use every day, like Twitter or Facebook, for example. It would be impossible to do that with just a chatbot. It's just not good enough.
Yet. But if
the
we're
vibe
increasing
coding
exponential,
platforms. Yeah, but
give it a year.
I don't see it getting that much better in a year.
What? AI couldn't even code when it came out 5 years ago. Whenever it came out. I'm throwing up numbers like I know what I'm talking about. That's the point, guys. Disclaimer, if we say anything, can't hate on us because someone had to teach us that information. We weren't born with it.
We don't know that much.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Something we know more about.
Nothing. A little bit of everything.
Should talk about a little bit of game theory.
Yeah, I don't even know that much. You'll carry it and I'll put in useful insight.
Alright. A little bit about game theory. There's this book. So first of all, game theory is just tactics that you would use to win a game. And the word game is kind of an umbrella statement. It can be a business, it can be a relationship, it can be war, it can be any endeavor you're in. One of the most popular books on game theory would be The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. But it's kind of, that book in particular just gives you kind of war tactics, but a lot of them are applicable to other areas of life. Like it talks about how, just for example, it talks about never letting the enemy fully know how many troops you have, where that could be used as like one of the sayings we hear all the time, like never show your whole deck, never let everyone know exactly what you have going on, and just kind of
Yeah.
keeping private.
What's the whole tit for tat game theory thing? You've heard of that? That's in like every book, I feel like.
Tit for tat,
You know what I'm talking about?
is that like eye for an eye?
No, that's the one. I'd have to remember what it is. Where it's like a simulation that they ran, and you either cooperate or you don't cooperate, and people would create programs based on what the other person would do. If you're going to cooperate or not cooperate, and you'd get points. It was like a point system. If you both cooperated,
Oh,
it's
it's
5
like
points.
I see.
If one of you guys didn't, it's like 10 points, and then neither of you guys is like 1 point. I don't remember the whole thing. But the best model,
That's like that game show where it's like
Yeah.
steal or
Kinda.
share.
yeah, the best model would tit for tat. It would do what the person did on their last turn. So if on the last turn the person cooperated, it would cooperate, and vice versa. And then randomly, the best one would add in a cooperate every like 5 turns if the person didn't, and that like worked the best and won by a lot. And I think that teaches us a lot about game theory in general.
I
That's
think
like the most I know about it.
my favorite example is, I think Naval referred to it as the stag hunt theory, where if one person is hunting, the idea is if one person is hunting, the most they can get is a rabbit or a small pheasant. But then if two people work together and they can catch a much bigger animal, like they could catch, let's just say a bear, for example. Like one person alone could only catch a pheasant. Two people alone, if they track the bear together, they set up in different spots. They're ready for the bear. I don't know much about hunting personally, obviously. If you know a lot about hunting, you'll know that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But the idea is just that two people can go a lot further than one person alone. And I think that that's kind of the piece of game theory that I have personally applied to my life the most. Because, like, our businesses, for example, we're going so much farther than we could have gone
Yeah.
just by ourselves. And we're doing, a lot bigger things than
And
we
it's
could
not
have done
saying
by
like
ourselves.
we couldn't. Like, I mean, I did window washing this summer,
Yeah,
and it worked, but my skill set did not allow me to grow at all.
yeah.
It was just knocking doors, getting clients,
Because
doing
you can't scale by yourself as easily.
Yeah.
You can obviously become wildly successful by yourself. Like, a good example is the game Minecraft that was completely coded by one person.
Yeah,
And that
that's
was
crazy.
that was a one-man
That's why you guys
Bill-
need to learn coding.
billion-dollar
That's why
company.
Coding needs to be in the high school curriculum.
But I think in general, you can do much bigger things with a team, whether that's just one person or a small team of 3 to 5.
Yeah.
But
I'm listening to this podcast on Freakonomics Radio, and it's about like 2 CEOs and why it's so much better.
Mhm.
And it wasn't in a peer-reviewed journal, but some guy did a study on like they looked at some of the biggest companies in the past like couple of years, and supposedly it's like a 40% increase. We'll link the episode so you know what I'm talking about. 40% increase if you have like multiple CEOs, which I think is pretty cool because you can bounce ideas off and you can have someone call out like bull crap on your idea if it's awful. So that can be important. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Tit for
Because-
tat, like cooperating
Yeah.
most of the time is what's going to get you most.
And they say the easiest person to deceive is yourself. Like, it's so easy to get yourself to believe that whether it's you're doing enough in business or you're doing the right thing, when if you have another set of eyes, they can easily point out what you're doing wrong. It's a lot easier to point out what someone else is doing wrong than what you're doing wrong, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you're on the same team, that's incredibly valuable
Yeah, and like
insight.
I mean, if you think about investing, it's literally just you cooperating with a bunch of
Yeah.
owners. Like,
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna help you out. That's your whole job, and you can make money off it, which is
Exactly.
crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Hopefully, start an investing firm someday.
Yeah.
We'll start our founders cafe.
Yeah.
Can't have anyone take that idea.
I honestly like. Yeah, we'll cut this out. I like the idea of a cafe a lot.
No, that'd actually be so hype. I don't know. You just call it good. It's like an hour almost.
Should we? I feel like there's so much, like, just slop in there.
I know.
This is our first one, so it's like, it's all right. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah, a lot more to come. You have
All right.
anything to say?
No. Tell our squids bye. That's from PJF Performance Podcast. There you go. He calls his guys squids.
What should we call winners? Tell our winners goodbye. So we're gonna end this episode with a couple book recommendations that have helped us a lot, and we think you guys would enjoy. So you can go first, man.
Freakonomics, Stephen J. Levitt and Stephen J. Dunder. It was actually really interesting. Talks you to think about decisions and incentives differently, especially without just look at the facts sometimes and not what you think. It's good.
Yeah, and I haven't read that one, and I'm super excited to read it. My recommendation is the Almanac of Naval Ravikant by Eric Jorgensen. This is my favorite book that I've ever read. Just so much knowledge. Naval is such an intelligent guy, and just a lot of good mental models and theories that I think are valuable for anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching. You guys just keep winning, and
We'll try.
we'll also try to keep winning. So thank you so much.